Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, will be along in 15 minutes. Missed it earlier. LSU's starting rotation has been announced. It'll be Case and Evans on Friday. It'll be Cooper Moore on Saturday. It'll be William Schmidt on Sunday. I broke that down at the top of the show. Also had a little bit of LSU football talk there. And we chatted with Joe Healy about the SEC weekend to come. So if you missed any of the first hour, you can always catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. You can search Hunt Palmer Show. Always appreciate it if you like, subscribe, rate, review. That gives us big help. If you're watching on YouTube right now and you want to throw us a like on this stream, we appreciate that as well. Always helps us. I was scrolling through the Trinidad Chambliss stuff. I did not realize Ross Dellinger reported earlier, and this is not related to the hearing, which is a legal injunction that is trying to be filed against the NCAA, but Ole Miss did appeal Trinidad Chambliss's denied waiver request, and the NCAA denied it again. So this is going to fall in the court system as we figured, and it is right now. So again, I still think Trinidad Chambliss is going to be the quarterback for Ole Miss, but that remains to be seen. A judge in Mississippi is going to have to rule that at this point. So keep you posted if we hear anything, and we may talk about it later on in the show. I'm going to try to predict LSU's opening day lineup in 30 minutes. I don't know if I've ever tried to do this before on the air. I went through it earlier today. I feel pretty good about my lineup against a right-handed pitcher, which is probably what LSU sees tomorrow. Milwaukee's got the reigning conference pitcher of the year on their team, and he's right-handed. So I think they'll see a right-hander tomorrow. But the left-handed lineup I really struggled with because the left-handed pitcher presents problems for some of LSU's best hitters. The question is, how far do you drop them in the lineup, if any, to get more right-handed bats up towards the top? I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll get to that in 25 minutes. We'll get to Chris Blair in 10. I had an open segment today, and it's this one, and I was just going to do a little bit of a Q&A with LSU baseball. Opened it up on Twitter, opened it up in the Bayou Ford chat. First one that came in on Twitter was, how much bunting and hitting and running do you think you'll see from this LSU team this year? You know, that's hard to tell. They're not going to be a bunt-heavy team. I can promise you that. They're not going to look anything like Kentucky. That's just not how Jay Johnson's going to operate, and I don't think he should operate that way. They also, in that way, don't have a Michael Braswell in the lineup who just bunted a lot. They don't have an Alex Milazzo in the lineup who just bunted a lot. Those guys were not powerful hitters. They hit a lot of ground balls. They were not great runners. They were bad. They were double play risks because they hit the ball on the ground a lot and they don't run great. So those guys, it made sense sometimes, depending on the situation, to get a bunt down. And they did. And they did pretty well with it. When I look at this lineup, I mean, you're not asking a lot of these dudes to sack bunt. Like the power guys, I'm not bunting with Jake Brown, Zach York, Cade Arambidi, Trent Caraway. Like these guys aren't bunting. I'm certainly not bunting my best hitters, Curiel, Milam, Brown. I mean, maybe Stanfield is asked to bunt a little bit. He is also a double play risk. Despite how well he runs, he hits a ton of ground balls, and he hits a lot of them pretty hard. That makes him a double play risk. But they're not going to be a big bunting team. And there has been over the last few years a bat in the lineup that it just made sense sometime to move runners. You don't have that. So I think they'll be towards the bottom of the SEC in sack bunting. As far as hit and run, that is a pulmonary special. He loves it. I haven't seen as much of that from Jay Johnson. Now, you have really good bat-to-ball guys like Curiel, Milam, York, Dardar. That's 4, and Stanfield. That's 5 guys that don't strike out a lot, that can put the bat on the ball, and some of them are really comfortable going the other way. Like Curiel is a great hit-and-run guy. He's got no problem guiding the ball through a hole, and I don't think you're compromising a power bat to ask him to do that. I don't want to hit and run with Jared Jones. I don't. because he hits the ball in the air a lot, and I don't want him thinking, hey, you got to drive this ball on the ground the other way. But with some of those other guys, you can. So depending on the matchup, depending on the pitcher that you're seeing and where you are in the game, I like to hit and run. I'm a classic baseball guy. I think there are times where it's time to bunt. I think there are times where a hit and run is a great option. I also am with the times, and I understand personnel, and I know that when you've got guys that can hit doubles and home runs, you need to hit a lot of doubles and home runs. And I think LSU's got a lot of guys. They're going to hit a lot of doubles and a lot of home runs. So to answer that question, not very much sacrifice bunting, not very much hit and running, but you have guys who are options to do hit and run if that's something you're interested in. So that was from Twitter. We also got one on the Bayou Ford chat. And if you're in the Bayou Ford chat right now and want to keep firing baseball questions away, I'm happy to answer them. Who's the best freshman arm to make an impact on this team? So there aren't a lot of them. You've got three, basically. You've got Marcos Paz, you've got Reagan Ricken, and you've got Zion Theophilus. I can tell you about all three of them, and then I'll give you my answer. I saw Ricken and Theophilus in the last scrimmage I went to Saturday of last week. Ricken is a really good athlete. He's 6'5". He was a high school quarterback. He looks like, when you watch him pitch, he looks like a starting pitcher. He's got smooth mechanics. He's tall. He's got 3 pitches. He throws a lot of strikes. He moves well off the mound. It's not max effort. He looks like a starting pitcher. He will not be a starting pitcher on this team, in my opinion. But I think he profiles really nicely moving forward. They were excited to get him through the draft from out in California. You look at Theophilus, who I saw, he profiles as a reliever. He works out of the stretch. He's max effort. I saw him talking a little bit, not necessarily to his teammate, but he struck either Curiel or Brown out. And he fist pumped and was fired up. And it just kind of the way he carried himself, the way he was max effort, the way he was out of the stretch, he looked like a bullpen guy to me. And there are bullpen innings to be had all over the place on this team. I don't know how far up the list he is to get them, but they like him a lot. He's from the Midwest in Cincinnati, and he's the guy that profiles as a reliever on this team. He, to me, based on some insignificant things like where he's from and then wind up, because Trent Bittmeyer, if you remember him, was from Pennsylvania, and he was just purely a reliever, and he worked out of the stretch and kind of had some fire to him. Theophilus is kind of like that, but he's more talented. He throws significantly harder. Bittmeyer was, from this day and age, a soft tossing pitcher. It's not a great comp, but like Midwest guys, bullpen profile, tough, physical, that type of guy. That's kind of what I see from a freshman, Theophilus. And then you got Paz. I saw 2 freshmen on this team the first day I went out there to practice in the fall, and I went, oh, okay. It was Marcos Paz and Omar Cerna. They're both from South Texas, and they're both just don't look like freshmen. Cerna weighs 240-something pounds at catcher, and Paz, sometimes you see pitchers that show up and they're just skinny. Like William Schmidt was skinny last year. He was a skinny kid. Threw hard, wiry, projectable, but skinny. Marcos Paz, not skinny. Legs, strong, physical. He throws really hard. And he's the answer to this question, big-time freshman arm on this team. He, we're told, is up to 97. They turned the radar gun off, so we haven't seen anybody's miles per hour in since the first 2 scrimmages. But he throws really hard. He would have been drafted if not for higher, if not for Tommy John as a junior. And you're going to see him in increments early on. They're not going to send him out there for 3 innings in his first outing. It's probably going to be when they're up 9 in the 8th. 3 outs. Go get him. And you'll see the big dog eat. He will be humming it. And I haven't gotten a great look at his breaking stuff yet. I will. I haven't yet. But the heater's real. And the body and the projectability is real. The interest from pro scouts is real. And the talent is undeniable. And I absolutely can see a world where he works himself into a bullpen role. Now, to be clear, I'm not making a direct parallel, but you'll know where I'm going here when I tell you this. I think big, physical, hard-throwing freshman that eases into a role. There is no better example of that than Zach Hess in 2017. He was a freshman. He was big. He threw 96, and they unleashed him in the postseason, and he was unhittable. That's the profile for Paz. Now, I think Paz actually profiles better as a starter in his time. Hess never really made that adjustment. He wasn't a disaster as a weekend starter. He just wasn't as good as he was as a closer. And I think Paz eventually transitions and becomes a really good starter. But if you told me Marcos Paz May 1st was like an eighth inning bullet, I would absolutely believe that. Absolutely. Kason Evans took that reign really early, obviously. And I could see Paz doing that. He is absolutely the freshman arm that I have the highest hopes for on this team. It's just not going to happen immediately. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to ease into that. Let me see if I've got another one or two before we get to Chris Blair rolling through the Bayou Ford chat. Some sarcastic questions. Okay, I don't think there's anything more. If you're in the Bayou Ford chat and you want to jump in real quick here before we get to Chris Blair, do so now. But I think we will now move on to the voice of the Tigers. He's been on the call for basketball. We'll be on Saturday as well. We'll talk some baseball with Chris too. It's voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. It's online at fabrychevrolet.com. I've been telling you all month because it's important. If you need a new truck, your lease is up, yours is struggling, or it's just time that you make the move to a truck, Fabry Chevrolet GMC is where you need to be. Now, every car that's online is on the lot. Every car that's on the lot is online. It's fabrychevrolet.com. But if you're looking for a Chevy Silverado, one of the best trucks in the game, up to $11,000 off MSRP and 1.9 APR financing. If you're looking for a GMC Sierra, another phenomenal truck, up to $13,000 off MSRP, 0.0 APR financing. Incredible deals, 5 figures off MSRP at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. And you know you're going to have a pleasant buying experience because the Fabry family has been giving that to Baton Rouge for 35 years. So check out the inventory. You can see some of those great deals. Check out what you might be behind the wheel of next at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at fabrychevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Going to be a great weekend here in Baton Rouge. Full sports schedule. Got LSU baseball Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Tiger Hoop Squad on the floor on Saturday as well. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, going to be there for a lot of that. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, man. It's a wonderful time of the year. You said it best, man. You get all this stuff converging at once. Busy, but awfully exciting. And I'm like every other Tiger fan on the planet, man. I am ready to see the reigning national champs open up this season.
Plenty of us are. What's your schedule look like this weekend? Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee, starting tomorrow afternoon. And due to the Mardi Gras holiday and campus being closed, obviously, in a quick turnaround, I'm going to miss opening weekend. I'll be watching and listening of the action at the box. But we're actually, as a team, the basketball team's leaving for Knoxville on Friday. Obviously, we play there Saturday evening around 5 o'clock and hang around Knoxville, get up on Sunday, and fly straight to Austin. So this is one of those unique trips where we're leaving Baton Rouge, and we won't be back until late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning.
I didn't realize that. Interesting. All right, well, that's where the basketball team will be. All right, well, let's talk about that basketball squad here. Just defensively, as we talked about last week, not a lot of answers. I realize Arkansas is really good. What did the Hogs look like up close and personal last week for the second time?
You know, it's funny you say that in that way, Hunt, up close and personal. In the first meeting, the SEC now has allowed schools to move us all over the arena. And thankfully, the folks here at LSU keep us on the floor. But at Arkansas, we were up in the crowd, and you're a good ways away from the floor. And again, LSU played great. I mean, they had a lead at the half, had their chances late. Obviously, Darius Acuff scored 31, 24 in the second half, took over, went 10 of 11 from the field, and they lost by 4. being up and close on the floor earlier this week, that's a talented team. Athletic, long. They just run at a high level. And to me, the difference in the game was the ability for them to go downhill at will and the inability for LSU to keep them out of the paint. And once they get to the paint, I mean, again, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Ewing, whether it's Acuff or Thomas, those guys know how to finish, and they did. I think there were 25 or 26 layups in the game. I counted 11 dunks. I could have been off. And they had 10 blocks. So I think defensively LSU couldn't stay in front of them, allowed them to get to the rim, get to the free throw line. Three-pointers really wasn't that big a factor in the game for either team. LSU really struggled. And then I think on the defensive end, that link just, really bothered LSU. I mean, like I said, 10 blocks in the game, even though you had a boatload of offensive rebounds. There were a number of times where you didn't get a shot off. You either had it stripped on your way back up or you had it blocked.
And, I mean, it's just so difficult to create offense. I mean, one, you've got your point guard out, and now Max McKinnon was injured, and we know about Jalen Reed. You're banged up. But when you just can't make threes, which LSU hasn't at all, it just becomes really difficult to score, no?
No, absolutely. I mean, when you look at some of the games where they've played well, and what I mean by that is well enough to win, and you look at the differential, and you and I have talked about it, I guess, now for 3 weeks. You look at the differential in three-point shooting. I mean, the first meeting, they lose by 4 to Arkansas, but Arkansas made 21 more points from three-point land. In the beatdown from Mississippi State, they outscored you 15 points on the three-point line. The story kind of remains the same. I think LSU needs to have 45 to 50 to 55 points in the paint, and they got to have 8 to 9 made three-pointers. I think that is the comfort spot for them to be able to win games. And when you look at some of the games where they were in it, I think the three-point shooting is the difference maker. And frankly, against Arkansas, when you've got Mike Nwoke, who averages roughly 14 points a game on the year, right around 11 points a game in the SEC, you got Max McKinnon, who had 14 straight double-figure scoring games and was averaging right around 16, 17 points a game in league play. When they combine for a total of 5 points, that's just, you're not going to be able to score enough points to beat them.
That doesn't work in that sense for sure. Let's transition over to baseball. Jay Johnson gave out 3 starting pitchers. Look at Jay being very, very informative in his press conference. We know that probably won't carry over to the postseason, but we'll take it now. He's got a Kason Evans on Friday, Cooper Moore on Saturday, and William Schmidt on Sunday. You've seen 2 of those guys for the entirety of their freshman seasons. We'll start with Kason Evans. What do you expect from him tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I was over at the box today getting things ready equipment-wise and setting up everything else, and was monitoring the press conference, and I then had to double-check, make sure it wasn't a parody account. I thought, wait a minute, he gave us all 3 names on Thursday? But, yeah, with Kason Evans, I went back and watched some of the games down the stretch last year just to get a little more familiar with the guys returning. And, you and I talked about it last week. I think everybody's excited about the transformation from what we saw last year, which was fantastic, to what he'll be like this year. And man, some of those games, I mean, big moments. I mean, I think back to the regional when LSU was on the ropes, and they had a chance to with bases loaded, and Evans is on the mound, and he just mows them down. There were a couple of innings in Omaha, a couple of times in Omaha where he retired the side by strikeout. I think he is, when you look around, in this league, you got to have the prototypical Friday night SEC guy. I have no reason whatsoever to think that Kason Evans not only is a prototypical SEC Game 1 guy, he's going to be one of the best in the league.
I'm hoping to see a lot of that, and so hoping it starts tomorrow. William Schmidt is very, very interesting, and I've been on record saying I think his development is as important to the ceiling of LSU's team as really anybody on the roster. He'll get a chance on Sunday. You saw him good last year. You saw him struggle last year. What did you notice?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a freshman. Again, I know he was highly touted, and for good reason, because of his career in high school, and that's why a lot of people were surprised he didn't go on into professional baseball. And I think a lot of Tiger fans, and I certainly know the coaching staff, are glad that he wanted the college experience. And I think when you saw those moments late in the season when he really went toe-to-toe with some really good hitters, you're like, yeah, that's what we're going to get. Now you're just looking for the consistency. And again, I think sometimes, myself included, we get caught up in the fact that, well, this guy could be pitching, double A at this point, and why is he struggling in college? I think that's just freshmen adjusting to the game. And frankly, when you go from being a dominant pitcher in high school, as good as Louisiana high school baseball is, there's going to be some growing pains when you step into the SEC. But all the tools are there. I mean, I've talked to a number of guys, Ben McDonald, obviously Doug Thompson, guys who have pitched in this league. All the attributes are there. Just got to find consistency. And you've heard me say it 1,000 times. And Jay, we trust this coaching staff. They develop players. So I'm excited to see what Smith looks like here, not only this weekend, but in his sophomore campaign.
Yeah, that's kind of what I keep going back to, because Gage Jump was relatively unknown at this point 2 years ago. Anthony Ianson and Cade Anderson were nowhere near what they became. And you look at the tools that Nate Yeske's got to work with, you've got to imagine that with the options that LSU has, they're going to find 7 or 8 guys that are really, really good. I think that's my favorite thing about watching these first 4 weeks. Sometimes the scores get lopsided, but you can still see those arms. And what do you like about what Jay Johnson does in these first pre-conference weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was talking about it in a couple of his press conferences, and that's the part that I like is, we'll see a starting lineup for tomorrow's opening game, and we very well may see some movement not only in the order, but movement in the personnel over these first 4 games to start this season. And that's like he talks about all the time, not to sound like a parrot, but it works when he says it's a 56-game playoff. And getting to a super regional Omaha is ultimately the goal, and lifting the national championship is the ultimate goal. So right now, through the end of May and into June, he's just got so much talent. I mean, as I told you a week ago, I mean, it's amazing when you look at a lot of guys will tell you could take 9 to 10 of these guys on the roster, and if everybody stays healthy, compete for an SEC title. You got another 9, 10, 11 guys that are going to be role players that'll play a lot, that could probably compete for the middle part of the SEC, if not higher. So I expect to see a lot of changes. I mean, obviously there's going to be some question marks. How solidified is third base? How solidified is first base? How solidified is second base? You mentioned it last week. I think we're pretty good in the outfield with those 3. But I expect to see a couple of those guys get a day off from time to time. There's going to be a lot of tinkering, a lot of levers pulled, a lot of buttons pushed, but you can't argue with the results over the last 4 seasons.
You sure can't. It's a pair of national championships. I'll try to add another one. It's a long way to Omaha from here, but it's excited to get started tomorrow. Y'all travel safe up to Knoxville and Austin, and we'll talk next week.
You got it, my man.
Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, with us on Thursdays. Appreciate him giving us a little bit of time. Jay Johnson said something today that it caught my interest in the press conference. It has to do with the lineup. It has to do with one of the positions in the on the defensive lineup that I hadn't really considered. Plus, I went ahead on this little sheet of paper right here that I'm holding, and I filled out 1 through 9 versus a right-handed pitcher and versus a left-handed pitcher the first time that we see that. The right-handed one I feel pretty good about. The left-handed one I'm not as confident in, but I'll go into the reasoning and kind of what I expect to see this weekend for LSU in the lineup 1 through 9. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Speaking of lineup, speaking of baseball, Marucci, the official bat of Major League Baseball, founded by 2 former big leaguers, their athletic trainer right there with them. They started making bats for the best players in the game from their backyard shed in 2004. Now, that quality, that understanding of the needs of the players has turned Marucci into an all-American success story right here in Baton Rouge. Today, Marucci is the official bat of Major League Baseball. Go see the wood shop. It's responsible for making those bats that they put in the hands of the best players in the world. You're going to see that in spring training. You're going to see that in the regular season. You'll see it at the World Baseball Classic. And you can all check it out right here in Baton Rouge. Book a tour. Take your youth baseball team. Take your youth softball team to see where big league bats are born. It's a really, really cool tour that you can go see here in Baton Rouge. And if you want to take some hacks in the cage in the hitter's house, you can do that as well. Every ticket comes with a 20% discount to the campus tour store and in the hitter's house. So take advantage at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. It's maruccisports.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Let me tell you before we get into LSU's projected lineup per Hunt Palmer. Let me tell you about my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. We know what part of the world we live in down here in South Louisiana, right? We know there's always a hurricane season around the corner, right? And we know that hurricanes can leave you without power for a significant amount of time if you get the wrong one. Not if you've got a certified Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. Just give yourself the peace of mind to know that power is not going to go out. Because when you evacuate and then the power comes out and you come back and then you got to throw everything out of the fridge and it's disgusting. And sometimes the power's still not on and the house is 97 degrees. Like it's just awful. You can prevent that with a Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. They have been locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Neil and Melissa have been running the show. And now if you look at the major players in terms of Generac generator companies in Louisiana, 4 of the top 5 are nationally owned. Boudreaux's Electrical is locally owned. Do business with someone from South Louisiana that understands our way of life, that understands the challenges and the weather patterns here in Baton Rouge, and can service your generator appropriately. They can track that generator and know whether or not it's ready to function so that when you need that Generac home standby generator to spring into action, it's ready to go. That's the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You can find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com. That's boudreauxelectrical.com. All right, I went through this exercise today, and we will grade this tomorrow because when I come on the air tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we'll have the lineup. It's usually published about 90 minutes before first pitch, so the folks over there at the box will have it, and it'll be up on Twitter, and I'll know right when we go on at 1 o'clock how I did. Now, I'm going to start with the right-handed lineup against a right-handed pitcher, because I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow. The reigning conference pitcher of the year is Gavin Theus from Milwaukee. He was 9-1 last year. He had 74 strikeouts in 88 innings. He pitched to a 4.38 ERA. They're not mind-blowing numbers, but 9-1 is pretty good, and he's back. I looked him up on YouTube. I could not find one single pitch that he has thrown. I know he pitched against South Carolina last year, and that wasn't on YouTube. I don't know anything about him other than he's right-handed. So that's what I think LSU will face tomorrow. And I didn't have too much trouble coming up with a reasonable right-handed pitcher lineup for LSU. I would lead off Curiel and play him in center. I would hit Milam second. He would hit from the left side in this entrance. Then you've got Jake Brown in the 3-hole, Zach York in the 4-hole. That would begin against this right-hander with 4 straight good left-handed bats that are about as good as you've got on the roster. Curiel, Milam, Brown, York. Good luck. Beyond that, I threw in a righty, Cade Arambidi. I've got in the 5-hole playing catcher. Go back to a lefty here. Tanner Reeves starting at second. I do believe he would be the first left-handed defender at second base. Then I've got Trent Caraway in the 7-hole, right-handed hitter at third. I've got Seth Dardar in the 8-hole, a left-handed hitting designated hitter. And then I bat Chris Stanfield in this instance, ninth. So you've got 4 monster left-handed bats at the top. Curiel, Milam, Brown, York. I love that against a right-hander. And then I chopped it the rest of the way 5 through 9. Right-handed Arambidi, left-handed Reeves. Right-handed Caraway, left-handed Dardar, right-handed Stanfield. That, to me, makes a ton of sense against a right-handed pitcher. And that is my guess for tomorrow's lineup against a righty. And I feel pretty good about it. Now, against a lefty, I begin to have some pause. Because Curiel didn't see left-handers as well, but I'm not moving him to the 6-hole like they did sometimes last year. He's the best hitter in the country. Brown struggled against lefties, so where do you put him? I had him in the 3-hole against the righty. Where do you put him against lefties? Milam is not as good a right-handed hitter as he is left-handed. These are the top guys in my lineup against a right-handed pitcher. Against the left-handed pitcher, they're not as good. Cade York's left-handed. And do you want to move up in the lineup Arambidi to a key spot up top? Do you want to move Braden Simpson toward the top of your lineup? Do you want to take Chris Stanfield, who I put in the 9-hole, and put him towards the top of the lineup because he's right-handed against the lefty? Like, these are theoretically some of your lesser hitters. So the question is, does Jay Johnson prioritize handedness and matchup, or just who's a better hitter? To me, it's pretty simple. I'm putting the really good hitters up at the top. Even if they don't see left-handers as well, they will eventually. And these guys that you're seeing this time of year are not dominant. You're not seeing Liam Doyle from the left side here, okay? not against Milwaukee. So I put this lineup together. This is what I see against a left-handed pitcher. I put Chris Stanfield in the leadoff spot. I have him 9 against the righty. Against the lefty, I've got him in the leadoff spot. I've got Curiel right behind him. And I got Brown in the 3-hole. I'm not moving Jake Brown down to the 8-hole. I'm going to get baptized by fire here. Go hit lefties, bud. You're one of the best hitters in the conference. Go hit lefties from the 3-hole. I put Steven Milam behind him right-handed. I don't feel as good about that. I could see Milam down in the 8 or 9 hole. But I got Milam in the cleanup spot right-handed. Then I go to Zach York, who's left-handed. I've still left Curiel, Brown, Milam, and York right there in the top 5 of the order, where they were in the top 4 of the order against right-handers. Because I think even though they're left-handed hitters, or in Milam's case, a switch hitter who's not as good from the right side, I still want those guys at the top of the lineup. 6-hole, I've got Aaron Beatty. 7-hole, I've got Braden Simpson against the lefty. That brings a right-handed bat into the equation. I had Reeves at second against the lefty. Switch things around. I like Braden Simpson in that spot. I've got Dardar still as the DH. Maybe that's John Pearson. Maybe they want a right-handed bat there and they go with John Pearson. I got Dardar in there as the DH in both cases, in the 8-hole in both cases. And then I put Carraway down in the 9-hole. I just think they're easing Trent Carraway in. This is my rationale for putting a powerful right-handed bat down in the 9-hole against a left-handed pitcher. Trent Carraway is a powerful bat, is a really talented guy. I believe one of the pitches to get Trent Carraway to Baton Rouge was, hey, you can come here and we're going to help you offensively. We're going to make you a better, more consistent hitter. You had a bad year last year until the regional, and we have some things we want to fix, and that's going to take the summer, it's going to take the fall, and it's going to take some at-bats in the season. And while you're trying to fix those things in your swing that we're going to help you with to make you a more complete and consistent hitter, you don't have to hit second or third. We got Curiel. We got Milam. We got Brown. We brought in York. We got Aaron Beatty, who's going to be a star. We can hit you 7th, 8th, 9th, and you can work on some things and maybe see some more fastballs while you're working on it. And that's why I take a powerful right-handed bat and put him at the bottom of the lineup instead of up at the top against a left-handed arm. Now, would it surprise me if Trent Carraway hit 4th or 5th against a lefty this weekend? No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me at all. He's a really talented dude. But for me, against a lefty, and I struggle with this, and this could be completely wrong, I'd be a little bit surprised if my right-handed pitcher lineup was way off. It could be. I'm not the manager. I'm not the coach. I'm not in there. I'm just going off what I know and what I've seen. I think it's reasonable. Everybody's going to be in a reasonably connected spot to there. I could be way off on this left-handed hitting lineup. I have Stanfield, Curiel, Brown, 1, 2, 3. Milam in the 4-hole, York in the 5-hole, Aaron Beatty in the 6-hole, Simpson in the 7-hole, Dardar in the 8-hole, and Carraway in the 9-hole. Now, another piece to this puzzle. Jay Johnson said today in his press availability that there were going to be some things they moved around defensively at second, which we knew, and third. That tells me potentially Tanner Reeves playing some third. Braden Simpson playing some third. Seth Dardar playing some third. Because you've got Carraway over there who's right-handed and has been very good defensively, but if you're going to move some things around, some of those second base options I think leak over to third, especially if you're trying to get another left-handed bat in the lineup. We've talked about this a lot. I can get you a lineup that puts 7 left-handed bats in the lineup. Aaron Beatty's right-handed, Stanfield's right-handed. I can get a left-hander in every other spot if you need me to. It's going to involve York at first, Reeves at second. Well, actually, probably, let me redo that. Here's my 7 lefties, theoretically, if you want to do that. York at first, that's 1. Dardar at second, that's 2. Milam at short, that's 3. Reeves at third, that's 4. Curiel in center, that's 5. Stanfield in right, that's 6. Braun at DH, that's 7. You would have Aaron Beatty and Stanfield as right-handed bats. Everybody else would be left-handed. And you could do that if you want to juggle, if you want to take Carraway out of the lineup, which I was under the impression that he was going to be a full-time starter, and he may be. But Jay said today, we're going to do some things to move people around at second and third. There's just not a lot of tinkering. You're going to give Aaron Beatty a day off here and there because you can't catch 56 games, and Cerna will play some there. But he's right-handed too. You're not going to tinker much the rest of the lineup outside of third and second. Maybe first. Want to get John Pearson at bat here or there? You can. Want to play Simpson at first? You can. But York's going to play a lot. So I've got this out there. I'm on the record, and we'll see tomorrow what the right-handed pitcher lineup looks like and how close I got. It's on the record. You can make fun of me if I'm way off or pat me on the back if I nailed it. Probably somewhere in between the two. But I'm excited for some LSU baseball coming up tomorrow. We are just over 23 hours away from first pitch from the box. Take a time out, come back and close it out. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's Heart Month over at Ochsner. Heart Month over at Ochsner all February long. Heart disease is the number one cause of death for men and women, but it's often preventable. Are you exercising enough? Are you eating fruits, vegetables, and whole grains? Are you sleeping enough? Have you done a good job of managing stress, avoiding smoking, limiting alcohol intake? These are the prime things you can do to keep your heart healthy. Your primary care provider is your partner in this prevention deal. They help monitor your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your overall heart health. It's a progressive thing. Take care of yourself. Regular checkups matter. Early detection and guidance can keep you on track for a healthy heart. So make your health priority this month and schedule that primary care appointment at Ochsner.org/BRprimary. That's Ochsner.org/BRprimary. Small steps today can lead to a stronger heart tomorrow. So check in with your doctors and make sure you're on track for a healthy 2026. They're online at Ochsner.org.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Beth Arena's team suffered their first defeat of the season earlier today, but looking good in the second game of the day. They're playing Oklahoma State right now. Looks like that's in Clearwater, and they are up 5-0 in that game, top of the fourth inning. So looks like a nice bounce back for Beth Arena's squad on the softball diamond this afternoon. Of course, LSU opens baseball tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Very much looking forward to checking that out tomorrow. I can't wait. I know. Excuse me. That was just a huge frog in the throat there. I know most of y'all are right there with me. Let me remind you one more time, my friends, it's Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Look, it's some of the best beef in the country, top 1%. Sean's got a process that he goes through. He has mastered it, and the results are consistent, predictable, and phenomenal. I've experienced it firsthand. You're talking about every cow that is raised on that farm that is a 3-year journey. It's grass-fed, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days, and you get consistent, flavorful, well-marbled, tender beef. You're looking for ribeyes, fillets, chucks, skirts, flanks, picanhas, ground beef. They got it all at Sagrera Farms, and it is top-notch. There are some things that people want to be the best. Some things you just don't care that much about. Personally, for me, like, I'm not necessarily a luxury car guy. I don't need to travel the world at the finest resorts. But when it comes to a good steak, like, I want the best steak. And Sagrera Farms has it. There's only 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. Sagrera Farms, the farm, or Supper Club. That's it. And it is that good. It is prime every single time. So if you want that at your house, you want a side, you want a quarter, you want a whole cow, split that amongst your family or friends, Sagrera Farms can do it for you. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so we're going to start it off with a little NBA basketball. So James Harden, as we know, just traded from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So he spoke to the media after the game yesterday and was like, he basically ripped the whole narrative about loyalty in sports. And I quote, At the end of the day, it's basketball. The whole quote-unquote loyalty thing is overrated. It's a business at the end of the day. There's a lot of money involved and then a lot of decisions that have to be made. If a player isn't producing or if you don't see him in the future, those people in the front office have a job to do and trade those players. So is loyalty overrated in sports? Take it or leave it.
That's a great question. I want to leave it just because I want to.
Okay. Leave it alone.
It's the great dichotomy between players and fans in professional sports and now in college sports, where as a fan, you want to think, well, that person wants to play for my team. He's going to take the money that has been allocated to him that he agreed to, and then he's just going to play whatever role he needs to on the team. And that's the way, like, I view sports. I'm on this team. I'll do whatever it takes to win on this team. And then there is the other side of it, that this is my job. This is what I get paid to do. The thing that matters is the money, and I'll give an effort for the money, and I don't really care where that is. And that's not a romantic thing for a fan to think about, but it's a reasonable take. And there are athletes that think about it both ways.
Yeah.
So obviously James Harden thinks about it one way. Yeah. Give me my money, and I will go play as hard as I can for whatever team pays me the money. And there are some folks that say, I want to play for this team. I want to win a championship here. Yeah. Give me this. We agree to that. I'll play to that. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And neither one of those is right or wrong. Now, as fans, we think that the way you should do it is just play for our team because you want to play for our team. Yeah. But in business world, does everybody act like that? No. So it's the great dichotomy between players and fans. And you just look at things differently. He's not wrong. It's just not the way that I want to look at it.
No, most definitely. And you said it well put. So reports are that Alabama may be backing out of his home and home with Ohio State. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
Really?
I'm not playing that game.
I'll take it.
I'm not playing that game.
I know why you're saying this. Yeah, I know why you're saying this.
Texas just missed the playoff because they played the game.
Ohio State,
They just did. Yeah. Why would you play it? I'm not playing Ohio State in the non-conference. You tell me I got to play a power team, I'll get Boston College on the horn. I'll give NC State a call. Sorry, I'm not playing Ohio. There's like 6 teams on the I'm not playing list if I'm making schedules. And y'all can say that's pathetic and I'm a wuss and a wimp and to beat the man, you got to beat the man and all that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is the playoff committee is going to look at the number to the right of the dash.
Yeah.
And how bigger it is, the worse you got. And if you're going to the shoe to play Ohio State, you're probably going to lose. I don't care who you are. And Texas did, and they're out. And if I'm Alabama, I'm not going to play that game. Sorry.
Yeah, and it sucks because if they didn't play that one game and how hot they were at the end of the season, there's no way you couldn't put Texas in there. So
they'd have been 10-2.
Yeah, I know. That makes too much sense. So baseball coaches in the major league will have to remain in their respective coaches' boxes until the pitch is thrown after owners voted to enforce the rule Thursday at their annual meeting in Florida. The goal is to curb coaches' ability to assess certain pitches, via pitch tipping, a practice that has become more prevalent over the last few years. So will this stop pitch stealing? Take it or leave it?
Leave that. They're going to find ways to do that. They'll be figuring that out as long as baseball's there. But I do agree with this. Can't have coaches way down the line looking into pitchers' gloves. They put the box there and make them stay there. They can get out of the box to hold a runner at third if the third base coach wants to run down the line and all that kind of stuff. But I can't have guys – and I realize that there's a safety hazard with it. And the Cardinals, famously in 98 and 99, the Cardinals third base coach. Well, I didn't blame him for this. He had on he wore a helmet, but he stood 30 feet down the line when Mark McGwire was up because he was on steroids and he was hitting missiles 400 miles an hour. And so the coach's like, I'm not standing in this coaching box while that dude is pulling line drives at my head. Yeah. So I got that. And the coach's box is very close to the hitters, but let's put some helmets on them. If they want to wear an elbow guard, I'm fine with it. Want to put a rib protector on to go out there like the quarterbacks do, I'm fine with that too. We can't have guys running down the line stealing pitches because their coach is allowed on the field. That's no good. So I'm good with it.
So in your opinion, you just think that now they're just going to find something else to
They'll
steal
find
pitches?
another way.
Yeah. There's no stopping it?
No, you're not cheating. You're not trying.
All right, you're right. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Again, our plan tomorrow, LSU first pitch, 2 o'clock from the box. Of course, I'm on from 1 to 3, right? So for the first hour, we're talking nothing but LSU baseball tomorrow, getting you ready for the season opener. At that point, a lot of you are going to listen to the game. I get that. So we'll transition, talk to Preston Guy about some football and some other things leading into the weekend. But looking forward to that big time. Missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. A lot of LSU baseball discussion today. Thanks to Chris Blair and Joe Healy for jumping aboard. again, looking very much forward to tomorrow's show and opening day. We made it. It's baseball season. Matt will drive you home next one after further review. Have a great Thursday. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. Make that short drive to St. Francisville, whether you're here in Baton Rouge, north of town in Baker or Scotlandville, or maybe you're over in Point Capee or in the Felicianas. If you're in any of those places, it's a quick drive, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, to get an incredible customer service experience, an incredible buying experience, and great service after that sale is made. The Fabry family's been doing that for 35 years. They've had 3 locations, 5 brands, and they are fired up now to have Chevrolet GMC. It's a great time to buy a truck. Chevy Silverado's $11,000 off MSRP or 1.9 APR financing. Sierra's $13,000 off MSRP or 0.0% APR financing. I'm not great at math, but I know you can't do any better than that. So if you're looking for a truck, Fabry Chevrolet GMC is your stop. Check them out online. The whole inventory is there at FabryChevrolet.com.